It was hard.
It was hard, definitely. So like I said, he was my best friend.
It's like I couldn't protect you.
Yeah, you weren't there.
18 years ago, it was our saddest day in our life.
18 years ago, we adopted Zach and Johanna, 2 members of a sibling group of 3. We're going to tell you how this story unfolded and how it affected the kids long term. Unfortunately, Johanna can't be part of this video because of where she is living. It's too far away for us to get together. But she's given us permission to tell her story and use her pictures in this video. So how come you and Zach were separated, and Johanna?
My grandparents wanted to adopt me. They were in my life since the day I was born, and they pretty much raised me. So when things happened, they stepped up to the plate and they wanted to adopt me. But unfortunately, that meant that I had to get separated from Zach and Johanna.
So separating the children, it wasn't our idea, and it wasn't the paternal grandparents' idea. It was the decision of the social workers, and they felt that was what was in the best interest of the kids. So we just made the best of the situation that was given to us. Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about how you landed up in foster care and a little bit about your story?
Well, my family, my birth mom had we all have different dads, different fathers, and it was all we weren't really treated well. We got fairly a lot of abuse in the past, and then one bad night, and then we ended up in the foster care system for 2 years.
So when you were in foster care, was anything done to reunite you with your birth mom?
There were visitations. I had to get, I guess like a worker or someone to go with me because I couldn't be left alone with our birth mother. But Zach and Johanna were allowed to go see the birth mother, but all those visits are supervised.
How long were you guys in foster care for?
Well, we were in foster care before one time, 6 months when we were very young, and then the second time it was about almost 2 years.
And what was foster care like for you guys?
Not very fun. It was very abusive.
I remember I was acting out a lot because I just went through a whole bunch. I just got ripped away from the only life I've ever known. And so I was acting out a lot, and I was sent in a corner almost every day. I was punished all the time for something that wasn't even my fault.
So what age were you when you went into foster care the first time? Do you remember?
I was probably 6.
What was the first time?
Yeah, that was the first time I was 6. Johanna was just like a baby. And we were living underneath the stairs like Harry Potter. And then the second time we were in there, I was 9 years old.
And that's the only one I remember is the second time we were in foster care. I think I was 7, maybe just turning 7, not too sure.
And how long did you stay in the second foster home for?
Well, I was just turning 12.
I guess I was like 9.
So you were in foster care for about 2 years the second time before you were placed for adoption?
Yes.
So it sounds like foster care was a really difficult time for both of you.
Yes.
It was.
And how was it for your sister Johanna? Do you guys remember much of that?
I remember one time Johanna had a meltdown, and we were living in the Rockies, and there was quite a few feet of snow, so they decided to cool her down in the snow, and virtually nothing.
Yeah, I remember that too. And she was crying, screaming a lot.
I remember I had to go to the bathroom one night. I was so scared going to use the bathroom, so I had to go underneath my bed.
So did you guys ever speak to your social worker? Was there any way you were able to tell anybody what was happening?
The only way I was able to tell was when I was visiting you guys, and I had a mud on my pants, and I had a complete meltdown saying I have to go to bed early, I have to wear pajamas, all this, and the foster care lady, or not foster care, the social worker didn't believe us, and then she came on to check on us, and well, she realized how bad we were, what the situation we were in, and they were shut down once me and Christy and Joanna left at foster care.
I had no idea that fearing and being abused, because that was normal for me. It's like my first 7 years of life, I was just abused. So living those 2 years of foster care was just normal. And until after I got adopted, that's when I started talking to my parents. I realized that it wasn't right. It was a whole different life after that.
So during the pre-placement visit, it became evident that the children were experiencing abuse in the foster home. So the social workers had to change the plan that they had as to how the adoption was to proceed. This knowledge meant that the adoptions were sped up and the children were separated sooner than they expected. You and Johanna were adopted and Chrissy was left for a little bit before her adoption went through. What was your thoughts when we came to pick you up and came to meet you?
Well, I didn't really know what to expect. I just thought you guys were like some rich people in a limousine for some strange reason. But I like this family.
So were you kind of disappointed when you first came?
I was really confused what's going on, to be honest.
Zach and Johanna left to be adopted and you were at the foster home alone. How was that?
It was really sad. I was there for like 1 week, and it was really sad and confusing for me. I didn't know what happened. Like, you know, Zach, Johanna, they were like visiting the parents, and I thought they were going to come back, and I was told that they weren't going to come back, and I just kind of felt lonely. And I just remember sitting at the table coloring and just, I don't know, just like really confused and sad, lonely, and I think part of me was scared because my brother, he was like, you know, my best friend. Like, he helped me through like a lot of stuff. We helped each other. We took care of each other through everything. And all of a sudden I didn't have him, and I was just by myself.
So Zach and Johanna came to our home. Was there a chance for you guys to say goodbye, or was it all so sudden that you didn't really get a chance for goodbyes?
I don't think there was a chance. I think it was just so sudden, like a snap of a finger. One day they were there and one day they weren't there.
So Zach, you and Johanna were what started it all for adoption for this family, because you were the first adoption.
It was just that awesome.
You were that awesome?
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like being the adopted child in the family with 5 biological siblings?
Well, it was different. I was quiet for the first few weeks, but then you guys helped me become part of the family. I was doing my brother's friends would go over, and I was trying to blend in. After like the first year, felt like I was part of the family.
When you were adopted, you went from a lot of abuses and neglect into a loving home, which I'm assuming had some rules. How was that for you?
It was really hard, honestly. Given that I was like adopted by my grandparents, for me it felt like a kind of like a fairy tale, like a vacation when they adopted me, because it's like my dream come true. I mean, the first little while they're easy, like just gentle, because it was, you know, a huge change in my life. And they started adding in like the chores and like rules and like guidance, and there was like a lot of work because I missed like a lot of schooling. So there's that plus regular school. So it was a huge change.
Going from abusive and neglectful upbringing until you were almost 12, how was that with that change afterwards?
Peaceful. I was actually peace. It's like a second chance of life. I finally got the life I always wanted.
So when you were both adopted, you had started out having an openness agreement where you visited your birth mom a couple times a year. How did that evolve over the years, and what does it look like now for you guys?
Well, when I first was adopted and I started visiting with the birth mom, I thought I was pretty close, but then after I got older, I got more wiser, and then realized that's not that ring, I didn't want to be part of that part of the family, and this is where I belong, and I'm at peace and I'm happy. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I got to see her like a couple of times out of the year for a while, and I always looked forward to every visit. I was excited because in my mind she was still my mom. And when I got older, like I think I was around like 16, and I just started realizing like the truth and reality. I just started becoming a lot more distant, and my mom asked me one day, she said, "Do you still want to see her?" And I just told her no, because I'm having a really hard time seeing her. Like I get in such a dark spot, and so I stopped seeing her.
And how are you feeling with that decision now?
I feel really good about it, because now I have no contact at all whatsoever with her, and it really helped me. Like I'm in a way better spot, mentally, emotionally, and all that. Like, I'm way happier.
How did you guys keep your relationship over the years? And what did your relationship look like?
We always had visits a couple times a year. I got to go to her place, wherever she lived before, and then she came over to visit. But then as we grew apart, but we always had through social media and phones. And then she went to do her thing and what she wanted, and I did what I wanted. Then I kidnapped her.
Yeah, literally. You know, when we got adopted and separated, we were allowed phone calls and visitations. And at first it was good, but even though it didn't happen very often, it was hard. And like, you know, we were separated, so like I was living with my grandparents and living by their rules and expectations and stuff, and I started changing. And like, you know, that's what happens when you grow up, you start changing. But we still never lost that connection. Like when we got older and started having social media, we still stayed connected even though we were growing apart. We still had each other in each other's lives.
So geographically, you guys lived quite a distance away. It wasn't like you were down the street and you could just pop in to each other's homes for a visit. So how was that when you were younger and you were first separated and you needed each other because that's all you knew?
It was hard.
It was hard, definitely. Like I said, he was my best friend. I don't know how he felt about me, but he was my best friend.
And Chrissy, you became an only child. And Zach, you joined a family of 7 children.
But for
Second
me,
oldest.
For me, that was good because I got spoiled. Because I had all the attention. I didn't have to share with my brother and sister anymore. But it was sad too, because I didn't have them.
It's like I couldn't protect you.
Yeah, you weren't there.
I'd like to encourage you on Monday. We're going to post part 2 of this story, which will tell you how they recovered from the trauma of being separated and what that looked like for them.